Hello everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Cambridge Bible. We're looking at the Cambridge Clarion in the ESV. Now you can pick this Bible up at Evangelical Bibles for about $166. And this is probably one of Cambridge's most popular Bibles out there at the moment. And as you can see, it is, well, I consider fairly small. I was going to say tiny, but I'll take that back and I'll show you why here in a second. Not necessarily the thinnest thing out there, but the length and the width, really nice sized Bible. Let me give you the specs on this Bible here. The Clarion is 5 by about 1/8 of an inches, of an inch this way, and then 7 1/16 this way, but it's about 1.5 inches thick. So a real nice little footprint on it. And to give you an idea size-wise, how big it is, here is the large print compact Bible from Crossway. This is just a regular True Tone, and this is a pretty small Bible in and of itself. I don't have the exact specs on this Bible in front of me, but as you can see, very small Bible. And when I put it here on top of the Clarion, really not that big of a difference. Really, you'll be able to tell in the thickness, but really nice size on this Clarion. Really do enjoy it. So let's take a look at the exterior. It is a goatskin exterior, and let me give you an idea of what that grain looks like. And as you can see, nice and shiny, fairly even grain there. I would say it's probably almost pebble grain. Really soft, really nice. You do see some, if you look real close, you can see some of the natural grain from the animal imperfections, if you will, in it, but really nice. I don't think this is nearly as nice as Allen's Highland goatskin, which is, so here's your Purslane Study. You got that real nice natural, almost like a river grain on it. That's your Highland goatskin right there. Not nearly as, the Cambridge Clarion is not nearly as nice in my opinion leather, but it's still a very nice leather. You've got perimeter stitching on the outside here, which is a typical Cambridge trait. I actually think that Bibles with perimeter stitching are really sharp, so I actually kind of like that. You do have the red under gold, and I call it red. I'm going to say it's red loosely. It is gold, but when you open it up, I'm going to actually call it more of a pink or a salmon. That's kind of the thing with Cambridge Bibles, is their gill's just not that deep as Allen's is. So just for a real quick comparison, again, going back to the trusty old study Bible. So there's Allen's. You can see that red, and there's Cambridge, a little more salmon pink, if you will. So that's the goatskin on the exterior. You don't get a lot of yap, if any, on this, so no overhang. You can see here it's just really small amount that kind of comes out away from the Bible, so no protection for your arc gilt, which, you know, if you're not careful, you will get that scratched up. And if that's something that bothers you, just be aware you don't get almost any protection at all from that yap. You do get 2 ribbons, if you want to call them ribbons. This is my #1 complaint with the Clarion, is the ribbons. This is such a well executed Bible, and you'll see why in a minute when we open it up. But then they give you these ribbons that are just, in my opinion, horrible. Now, they are actual cloth ribbon, so you know, you can see they are a Bible ribbon, but to me they feel like wrapping paper. They're just small, and they're not even really cut well. They're just kind of there. They just don't feel good. I really wish they would have gone with some nice premium ribbon like you see on the Allen. I mean, Allen knows what's up when it comes to ribbons. Look at these. You've got 3 of them, and you've got this nice shiny, you know, real silky material, nice thick ribbon. Perfect. Sorry, Cambridge, didn't miss the mark on that one. Let's take a look at the interior. Let's move on. What we're looking at the interior is a single column. So you've got paragraph format, but it is single column. You don't have the double column like you do in some of the other Bibles out there. So I actually prefer this. I much prefer this. You are on 28 GSM paper, so the paper itself not that thick, but even though it feels thin, and even though it is thin, you have a minimal amount of ghosting on this Bible for one very important reason. They did what's called line matching. which basically means that the line on this side of the page matches the text with the line on this other side of the page. So you really get a lot less bleed through than you would think for 28 GSM. So I'm going to show that to you there so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. If you look at the gap in between the paragraphs there, right, in chapter 29, as you see that gap there, you can see through the bleed through on the other page. But you can also see how well and uniform they kept that, where if you look at the word temple, you can see right after the word temple where the line on the other side of the page matches up almost perfectly. So you really, once you're looking at the actual text, you can't really tell that there's anything on the other side, which is really nice because it helps keep the Bible thickness down. They can use a little bit thinner paper, and yet you still don't get a lot of that ghosting. Where you're really going to be able to tell the ghosting is in books like Isaiah or Psalm, where you've got some of the more poetic writing that really will bleed through, or you can see the bleed through on these verses. But if you're in the New Testament, if you're in verses that or chapters that are fairly heavy on the writing, that'll fill the page. The line matching is wonderful to have. This does use a really nice font, actually one of the best in my opinion. It's called the Lexicon No.1. Just really crisp, really easy to use, spaces the letters really well, spaces the words really well, just very well executed reading Bible. As you can see, the cross-references are on the outside. A lot of single column will put the references on the inside, like the ESV study. The Cambridge Clarion, they put their cross-references on the outside, which is kind of nice. You do find yourself at times trying to read into the gutter in certain passages that have a lot of writing, like here we're in Mark chapter 12. It's not bad. Some people have really complained that the writing goes deep into the gutter. It really doesn't do that. And if it does, it's got a Smith-Stone binding, so if you're in church reading it, really you just open the Bible a little bit more and you're going to get to that text. It's really not a deal breaker for me. Let's take a look at the liner here. This is definitely not a leather liner, at least not, if it is, it fooled me. It does feel and look like synthetic. Again, not a deal breaker, but for premium Bible, if you're going to talk about premium Bibles and high-end Bibles, one of the basics and of a good Bible that would be considered high-end is that it has a leather lining. This does not, and it doesn't have any of the gilt line on the interior. Again, not really a deal breaker, just something to be aware of. And then it has this leatherette page here. The term is escaping me, I apologize. But it does have a leatherette end page, thank you. The text on this is the 2011 ESV. They do make this in other translations, such as the New American Standard, I believe the King James Version as well. And it does have a really nice reading quality to it. It's a great Bible to take to church because of its portability. It's a great Bible to sit and read on the couch because you can just you can palm it with one hand and you can see that there, how I'm doing that. It's really easy to hold, lightweight, great to travel with. Just a really good overall Bible. But then you still have the generous 9-point-ish, I'd say ish, because it's actually closer to 8.7, but still generous font, which makes it very readable. The back of the Bible, you have the 15 color maps, and you also have the concordance. Maps are well done. I mean, they're very standard maps. I believe they're the Oxford, but I'm not entirely sure. They're a little hard to read because the Bible is so small, so I've never used the maps on this particular one. But as you can see here in the concordance and the map index, they use a little bit of color, which is kind of nice. You've got some greens and some purples and some reds. And then you do have that full concordance in the back. The concordance type is very small. I'd estimated probably around 5 point, maybe 6 or somewhere in between. So not the best for cross-references if you're going to be doing any serious study just because of how small it is. But it is here, and it'll do if you're in church or if you're on the go, it will do. It is a pretty well executed Bible. I know Mark Bertrand really likes his. In fact, I think he had his redone by Leonard's. He liked it so much. So as far as portability goes, as far as readability goes, this Bible is premium. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. just because of some of the things that I mentioned, such as no leather lining, the big one, the ribbons, which I think if they would have put some premium ribbons, that would have actually bumped this up to a 5-star in my opinion. But overall, one of the best reading compact, or smaller I should say, Bibles. Really well executed with the line matching, which by far overshadows the fact that it's got the 28 GSM paper on it. And I think that this is a hit by Cambridge. This has been in production for a while, and I foresee this to continue to be in production. And just keep an eye out for these if you can find one. Like I said, this is $166 on Evangelical Bible. You can probably get them cheaper if you trade for one, or if you get a used one from someone. Just one thing to keep in mind, if you do get a used one, make sure you ask for photos or look at that art guild, because that's the first thing to get dinged on these because of the lack of YAP. Now mine is new and really has not been used since I got it not that long ago, so my guild is still in good condition, but I foresee that to go away here soon. If you have any questions, please go ahead and comment below. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and keep an eye out for any of my other videos. And let me know, like I said, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Thanks again for watching, and God bless.